In 1956, Mao decided to encourage constructive criticism of the party. He called for 100 flowers to bloom in the arts and 100 schools of thought to contend in science.
I was all for the slogan of letting 100 flowers bloom. We all felt that we had really started to have democracy. Soon, all the walls in Beijing University were covered with big posters. People expressed their points of view and asked the Communist Party for changes.
Yu Beijian called many high school teachers unqualified. Shang Dashi complained medical research was falling behind. More and more people criticized party corruption and inefficiency.
Committee members and leaders at all levels were criticized by ordinary people. They had quite a tough time. So they did not like 100 flowers. They felt as if they were punching bags. They were not happy.
Under pressure from the party, Mao reversed himself. In June 1957, he published an article calling the people who had spoken out enemies and rightists. Mao appointed Deng Xiaoping to lead the anti-rightist movement.
I was supposed to have committed 29 crimes. One was that I supported the policy of letting 100 flowers bloom. It was Mao Zedong himself who started the policy. How could it be a crime? But it was.
The rightists were denounced in front of their colleagues in struggle meetings. Professor Ge Peiqi was criticized in this meeting at the People's University in Beijing.
Ge Peiqi was my neighbor. He was already done for. That's what we called it. I saw his youngest child, who was about 5 or 6 months old. His nurse had quit. The baby was crawling outside the building under the burning sun. I felt sorry for him and picked him up. Some people said, "You shouldn't do that. Ge Peiqi is a bad person. Why are you holding his child? You'll get into trouble." They meant well. I said, "The baby hasn't done anything wrong."
Ge Peiqi's family was ostracized for years. Ge Peiqi himself spent the next 2 decades doing hard labor. I had been in the revolutionary ranks for so many years. At the meeting, I was the most senior person there, but I was finished. I suddenly realized that I had fallen from the sky down to the earth. I could never get up again. I was a rightist, and I was kicked out. In an internal party document, Mao estimated that about 10% of the people were rightists. Local officials interpreted this to mean they had to find 10 rightists among every 100 people.
Mao Zedong hated intellectuals and called them Stinking Nine. In 1957, anti-rightist movement nearly harmed 1/3 of them. Later on, after sweeping all the spirit in the proletarian Cultural Revolution, very few intellectuals were left unhurt. Scholars believe that Mao's hostility toward intellectuals is related to his experience at Peking University, as well as to his dictatorship, which does not allow people to have their own thinking and actions. Emperor Qin was just killing intellectuals, but Mao made of it a mass movement on a nationwide scale. The reporting, exposing, criticizing, fighting, etc. resulted in people feeling insecure. From Yunnan Rectification movement in 1942 to the Cultural Revolution, a mass movement happened almost every year. Why did Mao hate intellectuals so much? Ti Lu, a Sichuan writer and a right-wing activist spokesman, believes that Mao's hostility towards intellectualism is related to his experience at Peking University. Ti Lu said when Mao was a librarian, he earned $8 silver dollars a month. But professors like Hu Xi and Li Zhaohao earned over $400 silver dollars a month. When he copied books, he was criticized for scratchy writing, so he angrily left university and since then hated intellectuals. Ti Lu, if he earned over $100 silver dollars a month, he would not go to Jingshengcheng. If he would earn $400 silver dollars a month, he would have taught for a lifetime at Peking University. Maybe China would have been in a different situation. History is full of mistakes. Mao started hating intellectuals as he left Peking University in anger. Ti Lu also learned from history expert Li Rui that Mao found natural sciences disgusting and hated science. Ti Lu, in 1957, one sentence irritated him during the anti-rightist movement then. Lo Longqi said, "A small intellectual came to lead great intellectuals." He hated science and intellectuals ever since and persecuted intellectuals all his life. Mao was very overbearing and very domineering.
In 1942, Mao Zedong launched a rectification movement in Yan'an, the communist base of the CCP. The ideological mass movement helped Mao eliminate political opponents, establish his top leadership in the CCP's privilege system. Yan'an's rectification movement killed Wang Shuwei, a famous writer in Yan'an, which finalized the CCP's absolute control over the art. Mao started another rectification movement in 1957, and it triggered the anti-rightist movement. Over 550,000 intellectuals were convicted as a rightist. A great number of them finally died in the frontier areas, remote rural areas, reformed through labor prisons or farms. Until today, 97% of those rightists have not yet been vindicated. It was an ideological purging movement put under Mao's covert operations.
The effort to get mass participation was applied to another type of cleansing, of incorrect thoughts. People were asked to look out for neighbors or fellow workers who seemed to meet the party's description of rightists or capitalist roaders or counter-revolutionaries, and who were denounced.
Never have taken place in most other countries in the world. It's not a coincidence given the social systems here.
In 1957, Mao Zedong launched the first large-scale anti-rightist movement targeting intellectuals. According to estimate, at least 550,000 people were affected, and now only about 10,000 victims remain. Scholar He Qinglian spoke at a forum to mark the 50th anniversary of the anti-rightist movement. She says that provincial libraries have received orders from Chinese authorities to destroy documents detailing the CCP's past history. Shi Rouping, a retired professor from Shandong University, says the regime is still monitoring survivors of the movement.